guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the M4. It has been a whole year since I bought this car. I know, time goes absolutely insanely fast these days. Today we're going to talk about my ownership review or overview of my BMW 2015 BMW M4 non-competition with a couple of cheeky mods as we go through some mud. We're going through mud on the road. What is going on? We're going to have to slow down. Rear tyres, I'm not going to like that when we come on boost. But if you like the style of the video, please leave a comment below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, but onwards to some lovely B roads, probably with mud on them. So, if you didn't know, this is my 2015 BMW M4, a car that I absolutely lusted for way back when they came out, actually, and they went off the radar because I saw a few of them. You know, when you're in London, when these cars initially came out, they were bloody everywhere. Easy finance, easy PCP, wasn't it? And I always thought in the back of my head, I would love to own a car like that. If it wasn't an E46 M3, probably a CSL, unfortunately, but I would be happy with a manual hard top M car. The only other M car I was going to have was this generation of M car, either this M4 or an M3. Now, why didn't I pick the M3? Well, at the time, I've said before, M3s were £3,000, £4,000, around £6,000 or £7,000 more than this car actually was when I bought it from Havant Car Company. So, you know, the reality was I couldn't actually afford to get into an M4 as a absolutely massive bus comes towards us in the mud. There's mud everywhere on this road. Just gonna let him through. Excuse me, I'm not fitting through there. That's all right, mate, don't worry about it. Yeah, so initially wanted one of these cars, you know, wanted a 46 really, but they're not easy to finance, not easy to PCP, all this other stuff. Going through loads of mud. Sorry about this, guys, you probably hear it on the camera. But yeah, I wanted to go for an M car, so done the RS, you know, Audi RS range in a sense, driven most of them, owned an RS 38P, wanted to migrate into an M car, so I did, and that's where this car came into play. It came up at a reputable dealership, which was Havant Car Company. I was like, do you know what, this is the one, we're going to go for it. Now, do I feel like I got my M car experience? The issue is, and this isn't an issue with the car, it's actually me, it's my issue and my life and the way I am at the moment, is that this car is so good. Tip it into here, hold on. Nothing drives like an M car, mate. Yeah, the issue is my life right now, if I'm quite honest. The big issue is I've got 2 kids now. I'm 33 years old. I carry a lot of crap around with me pretty much all the time. So having a coupe in my life at this present state is sort of a silly idea, but I went through with it anyway. The compromise I made on space, rear doors, all that sort of stuff was very apparent, you know, the first month into the ownership. That's down to personal things. I've said, you know, before in the channel, I've noticed not flaws, but different things about the M car that I hadn't necessarily noticed when driving them for shoots, because I only have them for a couple of hours. Putting my money where my mouth is key on this channel, and I wanted to put my money where my mouth is on one of these and make sure that it was the car I was thinking it was. And to be honest, it was in a sense. Lovely bit of stretch of road here. Oh, back end's all over the place. And again, back end still all over the place. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's that. That's the M car trait that you guys will know full well, is the back end is wayward at best, I think the word is. This car is so fast. But yeah, that's the best part about this car is right now, me in it, maybe with the Mrs. FYD, driving it and enjoying it down a really nice bit of road. This is where this car comes alive. It is phenomenal through the corners. I have not to this day, I've driven a few, but I've not to this day had a daily car that's this good to drive. Nimble at the front, rear end's twitchy but fun. It doesn't really want to kill you if you're not silly in it. And I've driven, you know, the only thing I would really pitch this against, and I know this sounds really silly, is an AMG GTR. The pitch from the front, especially, how that feels, the tuck in and the way you're able to nimbly go round corners, that's how that car feels compared to this. It feels like that. I'm still yet to drive a few C63s, E63s and stuff, so the AMG stuff is coming. I've pretty much driven most M cars, except for the new M3, but I mean, I'm going to say this now, can it really be that much better than this one? Because I think this one is phenomenal. But this is where this car needs to stay. With someone that's maybe only using the back seats here and there, that drives it, not necessarily within an inch of its life, but drives it properly, here, there and everywhere, and doesn't do what I do in it, which is put two kids in the back on a daily basis, that puts, you know, custard jam tarts in the back and shopping in the boot, lots of shopping because babies and stuff and nappies. Doing a poopy change in the back of this car is not fun, and that's where the flaws come in, and that's down to me as a person. This isn't this car, because this car is insane. It is so good, and I feel like at this point in my life, I'm not necessarily cheated out of an M car, because I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I put my money where my mouth is and said, you know what, I'm going to buy this now and I'm going to enjoy it for a year and see how I feel after it. I'm glad I did, because it was one of those cars that I wanted to enjoy for a long period of time. After, you know, AT Motorsport especially, I took their M4 out and it was just ballistic. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Needed to get on with the size, but I love big cars anyway. But yeah, it's a funny one, because I love what I do for a living, and what I do is drive cars, right? And thoroughly enjoy cars. And this is up there with one of the best cars to do that in. It's nimble at the front, the back end comes out, the power is insane. It drives really good. You're sat low in some bucket seats. It's sat on, you know, Rotiform wheels, which look insane. Tyre stickers from TyreStickers.com. You've got the suspension from HMR. You've got a carbon lip. You've got a stone exhaust system, which sounds biblical, honestly. Just listen to the thing. But what I need right now, what I really need in my life, is something completely opposite to this. As my little baby girl is growing up, she wants to come in and out of the car more. We're doing more, you know, things with bikes and things, push chairs and scooters and whatever's going on. Unfortunately, this means that this car is slightly redundant in my life at the moment. Unless I am taking it out today, I've just shot a car, I'm on my way back to my office, and I've got some fantastic roads. This is the only car I'm going to take down this road. Series 1's great, but it ain't got, this feels good. That car is insane, but this car is insane in a different way, if you know what I'm talking about. This is a driving pleasure. Tucks in, drifts out, lovely. And yeah, I feel like if you're after an M4 or an M3, please make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, because I feel like I came into this car and then 6 months down the line thought I should have bought one of these when I was in my 20s. Not that I could afford it, but I should have bought one when I didn't have as much. It's not baggage, because I love my family and I love taking them out, and I'd love a car that I could do all of it in. This isn't that car. It really isn't that car, and that's the biggest shame on my sense of part of this car, is that it'll always go down in history, my ownership of not really getting what I wanted out of it. I thoroughly enjoy it for me, but I want to enjoy a car for everybody. My RS3 had a kid seat in the back of it, dogs in the boot, pram went in it, it was all good. It was actually really, really capable of doing that. And yes, that is completely my fault for buying a coupe, but it slightly hindered my M car ownership. I would have probably had that with an E46 though, if I'm honest. End of the day, it's the same coupe styling, isn't it, at the end of the day, compared to this. I just thought, you know, if I couldn't get into a 46 because they were so expensive, I could easily get into one of these because of the financial options. Shout out Having Car Company. It has meant though that I think I'm done with the M car thing, and I've said that for a while. I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing, and moving and migrating into something that, you know, we want to enjoy, especially as a family, but as a channel, because I want to make sure I'm doing the right content for you guys as well. I want to make sure I'm doing you guys justice with what I actually own and where I put my money. You know, where I put my money where my mouth is. Yearly, we try and change a car into... Petrol lights just come on. We try and change a car yearly, especially a daily driver, because I don't want to stagnate a car, especially like this, as we come up to a red light. I don't want to stagnate, and this is the biggest thing, I don't want to stagnate a car on a daily basis that you guys don't like. So if I was sat in this car and it was doing insane on the channel and I could tuck it up and get another car, I'd do it. Just feel like not a lot of people care. And let me know if you got to this point in the video. I don't think what I thought was going to happen with the RS3, which was a lot of people really loved that car, and I loved that car. It was a gold car for years. Migrating into this, there is an Evo. Is that a wagon? Oh my God, mate. Evo wagon. That is cool. That is so cool. Mate, I'm about that. Yeah, the migration from an RS3, say, into this car is very different on the internet, because I don't think a lot of people cared as much, which is a shame, because this is a friggin' insane car. It just means that we're going to have to move on. We're going to have to move on into something else, and it's not a bad thing, because I've really enjoyed this, but I just feel like in my time, in my life right now, I could probably come back to something like this, you know, when my kids are a little bit older. They're able to get in and out of the car as you wish, but there's a baby seat right there, and it's a nightmare to get in and out of this car. The flaws come when you start really, you know, using this car for its unintended purpose, which is 4 people, little baby, nappies, everything in the back. So yeah, my overall thoughts on the M4: insane to drive. The power base is phenomenal. It drives and tucks in from the front like no other car I've daily driven ever. It just drives insane. The interior is a lovely place to be, carbon fibre. The seats are, although buckety, very comfortable. I've got a bad back, I'm old. The drawbacks are, at the end of the day, it is pretty stiff. Even when you unlower it, say you put, you know, standard wheels, tyres, and standard suspension on this, they're pretty stiff from the factory. They are clunky. The DCT gearbox is very, very clunky in these. I noticed that a lot, because I'm on the Isle of Wight doing a lot of stop-start driving. Even in comfort modes and everything turned off, it is still super clunky, even when you're doing a 3-point turn. That's when the worst comes out. And I have to do a 3-point turn pretty much every morning when I take my kids to school. In the road, I have to do a 3-point turn, go the other way. I noticed that straight away. That's the drawbacks. Take what you wish from that, because the drawbacks are my own personal fault. It isn't the car's fault. Because if I was still 25, say, and I bought this, I would literally sing to the heavens at how good it was to drive and how comfy it was and how lovely it was. But because I've got a bad back and kids now, an M4 in my life especially becomes pretty redundant, which is a shame. And that's not to shade, and that's not to cast shadow on this car whatsoever, because it is insane. Come drive it, you know, he's bonkers. But I need the rear doors and the space. I need the space now, because I'm old and I've got kids and stuff. So yeah, there it is, the overview of my year ownership. If you want me to go through costs of this car, I will happily do that, because if you're actually after one of these and you see the price and you want to see, you know, finance, running costs, tax, everything, servicing, you know, all that stuff, let me know below. I would quite like to do a year cost on this car as well, so a year ownership cost, just to give, you know, some people out there that might want one of these but are a bit worried about the financial side of stuff, because I would be. These cars are expensive. It's an expensive performance car at the end of the day, but I, you know, want to make sure that if I was ever to do a video like that, you guys were full on board with it. But please let me know in the comments if you did like this video. Please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll see you guys on the next one.